Wizards, man, I just need more magic.
Well, then, in that case, why don't we look at D&D Beyond, the Homebrew section, to see what kind of wizard traditions we can find over there.
I'm Nerdarchy Ted.
I'm Nerdarchy Dave. Welcome to Nerdarchy, for nerds, by nerds.
I guess it's time to get schooled on wizard traditions.
All right, so we're going to look at the top 10 D&D Homebrew for wizard traditions, as we mentioned. Now, the way we figure that out is we sort by most views. We're assuming that's the thing that people have looked at the most, so we're going to kind of equate that to the popularity. Also, if you want, even more information on wizard traditions and more breakdowns, you can go over to the nerdarchy.com website, and there is the Factor of 3 series over there, where Nerdarchy Doug breaks it down, but instead of just one way, he does it 3 different ways. You can see what he's got ranked and what his picks are over there. I mean, we're talking about D&D Beyond. It's only fair for us to mention that D&D Beyond is a sponsor of Nerdarchy, in this video in particular. There will be a link in the description to go check them out, as well as to go check out all the different wizard traditions. And I believe for free, you can go over there and take a look at the homebrew stuff.
All right, so we're going to dive on in. As we said, there's a link down in the description for D&D Beyond. If you want to follow along, we're looking at the top 10 list, and Dave is going to go ahead and dive into that.
Yeah, I'm going to pull up D&D Beyond on my handy-dandy device here. We've got Chronomancer, Alchemist, Blood Arcana, Arcane Polymath, Artificer, School of Necromancy, Palmaster, Master Summoner, School of Chaos, Wild Magic Mage, Spellslinger, and Blood Mage.
So before we dive into, which one we felt is, worth the most in mentioning, if you like these videos and you'd like to help support Nerdarchy in continuing to make more, why not come check us out on Patreon and support us there?
Over there, you're going to find races, feats, subclasses, spells, drop-in encounters, maps that we use in our own games, a chance to game with Nerdarchy, and so much more. You can find links down in the description below.
So we went in and we started looking through the top 10. And, when you start getting into spellcasters as a tradition, you have to factor in not only the spells that they have access to, because, we're basing this on a full spellcasting, class, but, the mechanics that they're working with. Now, the top one was Chronomancy, which talks about time travel, and there is a lot to unpack there. And it says specifically, like, the spells that he created, which were over 50, are only usable by members of that particular subclass. So without going into all of the different spells, we decided, while that is cool, time travel is something that a lot of DMs really don't want to play around with, so we had to push that one aside. So we're actually going to go through Blood Arcana. The mage strode forth wrapped in a scarlet cloak with blood glistening on her jagged dagger. She wove the whetted blade as if she was conducting an orchestra, and the fresh blood obediently rose up to dance around her form in a tempest of crimson fury. Her laughter was shrill and eerie as she drew in the swirling strands of blood, causing them to crackle as they burned, and instantly it converted power and erupted from her palms in a rolling inferno. When the smoke cleared, nothing was left before her but scorched earth, a scattering of ashes, and the acrid scent of iron. All was silent except for the steady dripping of blood as it fell from her arm.
So, Villain Theory is the creator. We get a nice little section of flavor text, and then we go into the write-up on the subclass. I think that they were very thorough in their write-up. It is like more than the actual wizard class. The dread secrets of Blood Arcana are as incredible as they are terrifying, allowing a wizard to access overwhelming power if they're willing to pay the crimson price. As a practitioner of these grisly arts, you do not favor a traditional school of magic and instead focus on the ability to augment spells through the perilous spilling of blood. One who dabbles in these taboo techniques is most commonly known as a blood mage. The term Blood Arcana is the collective name of arcane practices used to convert life force into power, also known as the Scarlet Arts. Most societies fear blood mages and forbid their lurid studies, considering them both wicked and exceptionally dangerous. Although a blood mage is not inherently evil, the mysteries of its power is typically learned away from prying eyes, whether gleaned from lessons of a dubious master from an ancient spellbook or your own grim experiments. Many people confuse blood arcana with necromancy, but the truth is that the two practices are opposites. Necromancers harness the power of death, whereas blood mages harness the power of life. A blood mage is similar to a cleric focused on healing, but employs their practices in reverse, whereas the cleric uses their magic to restore life. A blood mage does the unthinkable and instead consumes life to empower their magic.
So, really well done, really thematic. It definitely sells the image as to what this class is all about. I guess harnessing why we particularly chose this one. Crimson Exchange. At second level, you learn to boost your spells with the power of blood. When you cast a wizard spell with a spell slot, you can choose to take damage equal to double the level of the spell slot you're using to cast the spell, and empower the spell with one of the following effects, your choice. If the spell has a more powerful effect when you cast it at a higher level, you instead cast the spell as if you would use a spell slot of one level higher to a maximum of 9th level. If the spell deals damage, it ignores damage resistance. And thirdly, if the spell slot used is 4th level or higher, you restore a 1st level spell slot. So those are the 3 options. Very cool. Taking damage to be able to get back a lower level spell, kind of powerful, but pretty cool. The damage you take as part of this feature ignores resistance and immunity, and does not require you to make a Constitution saving throw to maintain your concentration. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your intelligence modifier, minimum once, and you regain any expended uses when you finish a quest.
They're going to max it out at 5 times a day. It's not too bad. There's no way to mitigate the damage. Well thought out so far. Really, really solid ability. In some cases, I don't know that it's worth the damage. But again, I mean, if you're familiar with the channel, we prefer underpowered to overpowered because it's easier to scale up than down. Thicker than water. Starting at 2nd level, you become accustomed to recovering from damage. You regain additional D4 hit points for every hit die you spend after finishing a short rest. Additionally, you can use a dagger as a spellcasting focus for your wizard spells. Obviously, focus, not a big deal. I feel like an extra D4 every time you expend a hit die seems like a bit much to me.
I like it because it's basically getting those extra hit points back that you would be expending through the use of your self-harm or your empowering spells. So I think that's like built into mitigation to say this is how extra tough you are. But that's just my take. Sanguine Kiss. Starting at 6th level, you have learned to use the blood of others to bolster your spells. As a bonus action, you can make a melee weapon attack with a dagger against a creature. On a hit, the target suffers the attack's normal effects plus half your wizard level. If the creature was not an undead or a construct, you can subtract the damage dealt from the damage you take as part of Crimson Exchange. If you use it by the end of your turn, you may use this feature once and regain the ability to use it after finishing a short rest. 6th level, being able to, bonus attack as a wizard with your dagger, kind of awkward, but, it's once a day, so I don't think it's all that bad.
It's thematic, and also, if it was more than once a day, it would be strong. But there's other classes, they generally let you cast a cantrip and use a weapon attack. This is actually a little bit better than just a normal weapon attack. Right. You're a wizard. You're standing in a place you probably shouldn't be. If you can hit something with your dagger, is my opinion. So I would, honestly, I almost feel like I would let this be even a little bit stronger. I don't know how much stronger. Like, is it something that you can use once per short rest instead of once per long rest? Maybe, proficiency modifier a day seems too much. Ability modifier a day might be a bit.
I think it's strong if you alter. I think the rest mechanic might be a little bit better. But like I question how often this wizard is going to get into melee range with a dagger. So like that's my crux of it.
Well, the other thing too is I feel like it could even be maybe the attack is stronger, right? Drain more life force because half your level. I mean, at 20th level, that's 10 points, and a D4 plus whatever modifier you're using.
All right. So how about this? We leave it once a day, but this winds up getting into a bit more crunch. But you record the damage done, and you now have a blood pool that you can draw on for the next minute of extra bolstering that you can do as opposed to damaging yourself.
That would work, or even just temporary hit points that could be expended to do the same, right? And you just do more damage with it. I think either of those, like, I think increasing the strength on this one, also to mitigate some of the weakness of some of the other things, because, you know, especially when you're talking about taking twice the level in damage from the spell slot you use, that's going to hurt a bit. And I don't think, other than like ignoring resistance, those other abilities to me aren't that like great, outstanding.
True.
So next up, Ruby Withering. Beginning at 10th level, when you affect one or more creatures with a spell empowered by your Crimson Exchange feature, you may choose to prevent all the affected creatures from regaining hit points until the end of the next turn.
So, you know, this is interesting. You know, as DMs, you know, we definitely have times where there's something going on that allows for healing, or whether there's an NPC cleric that's in the mix. This is something that doesn't come up a lot, but when it does come up, this can be pretty clutch. So I definitely like that ability to, you know, have this necrosis that you're causing stop healing for the round. I definitely dig it.
Useful against vampires, trolls, a bunch of other monsters. Yeah, I think this is a good one. Honestly, I don't even think we needed to wait till 10th level for this one. Could have just been in the mix.
Scarlet Tides at 14th level. This is a kind of subclass capstone. You learn to unleash overwhelming spell attacks through your reckless sacrifice of your own health. When you use the Crimson Exchange, you can choose to take additional damage equal to the level of the spell slot you're using and become unable to regain hit points until the end of your next turn. If you do so, you may choose 2 of the available Crimson Exchange options instead of 1, and you have advantage on all attack rolls as part of the spell. All other rules of Crimson Exchange still apply. I think this hurts too much. I would honestly just say, if you're using the Crimson Exchange, you get to pick 2 and end it there. I wouldn't do the advantage on attack rolls, but I wouldn't have it so that you can't get healed. I think that penalty is too harsh.
Yeah, I don't think that's quite necessary. Again, it is the capstone ability for the subclass, so I do like the idea of either, lowering the cost of what it takes to do it, allowing it to do it more often, or like you said, just being like, okay, you can just do it.
When you look at Crimson Exchange, you can do it, let's face it, for an average game, you're going to max out at 5 uses a day. And either you get a free level bump, as long as it's below 9th level, it can ignore resistance, or it can restore a first level spell slot. So if you're getting 2 of those options, you know what, I'm going to give it a free level bump and have it ignore resistance, or I'm going to give it a free level bump and get back a first level spell slot, as long as I've used it, because you can't restore something that wasn't there.
Yeah. Not game breaking.
Yeah, not game breaking. And again, this is a max of 5 times, so I don't feel that as a 14th level ability that I need to be like, oh, well, when I do this, I need to not be able to be healed for a round. You're talking about a wizard who is purposely doing damage to themselves. They're already taking a buttload of damage from their own use. I don't think it's necessary to cause that further harm.
All in all, though, I think it's like a well-rounded subclass. It was well thought out. There's a lot of flavor to it. I feel like Villain Theory did a good job with this one.
Hands down, yeah.
I would allow it in my game, and I would probably up the power level just a smidge to bring it in line with maybe the other wizard subclasses.
I would play this character. I think there's definitely a lot of fun, and I would absolutely allow it in my game. I agree with Dave. I would dial this up a little bit, and that's kind of where we like to start. We like to start lower powered and dial up, because it's easier to add more than it is to take away.
Your players are actually always a lot more happier when you give them stuff than take stuff away. What do you find folks think? Villain Theory, hit this one on the spot. Would you allow it in your game? Have you maybe done your own Blood Mage over on the D&D Homebrew section? Let us know down in the comments below. Share your thoughts with the rest of the Nerdarchy community.
While you're down there, don't forget to do all those fun things like, share, subscribe. You can click that notification bell so you don't miss a single video.
Quick reminder, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we drop new videos. Come on back to the channel. But hey, you can't wait till then. Check out 3 most popular feats on D&D Beyond Homebrew up here.
So until next time, stay nerdy.